And welcome to Tales from the Film Set and What Grinds My Gears. My name is Scott Churchson alongside Mr. JD Walker, and this is What Grinds My Gears Friday night as we are breaking down all the things in the world that are pissing us off, frustrating us, agitating us, and all sorts of good things on top of the back end. My producer, Mr. Jeffrey Valentino, has just popped on. I appreciate that. Helps if I give him the right link. That was on me. Jeff, if you have any questions or concerns, just drop it. Just write it in the chat. We'll definitely catch up on that. But right now, basically, we got two major topics that we're going to be breaking down right now. We're talking about Elon Musk and what's happening with Twitter and everything like that. Will he get it? Will he not get it? Why does he get it? Why does he want it? No one friggin' knows. And also, as you saw from the Nick Cage bit from Wicker Man, we're also talking about bees because it is that time of year right now. I hate bees. I saw my first big one, managed to flush him outside, but had to use a used pizza box to do it. Before we get into all that, though,
pizza box bee disposal. All right.
My God, dude, you find a way, you find a system on this. But before we get into the Elon Musk stuff for starting off, how you doing, man?
It's been a heck of a week for both of us. I had new windows installed in my house this week, and all the assorted craziness that goes with that before and after.
Yeah, and that's a benefit that you got in this case here because, you were telling me about that a little bit earlier today. And basically the fact that they left all the shit behind and you get to sit there this weekend and go out and pick it up all by hand.
Yeah. All contaminated with lead paint, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Since it's an older house. So that'll be fun. So that's fun.
And on my side of the fence, we're in the process of moving my mother-in-law into here, which thankfully I have the space. But we're doing a little bit of a quick sale on that. So it's going on the market. The person that I love is, in this case here, Mr. Miguel Figueroa of Toy Quest 101. Check out his YouTube channel, as always. They cover pop culture. They tie it into autism. He gets really cool guests on there. The guy from Honest Trailers, the cast of the original X-Men series. So check that out. He is also, basically, if you're into MMA, he is also the guy who actually was the MMA trainer for WWE wrestler Sonya Deville. So Miguel is a peach of a human being. Check out his channel between him and also with Ileana, his daughter, and learn what you can do. Learn basically about autism and also learn about awesome things in the world of pop culture. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, this has been a challenging week on my side of the fence. Lost a couple people, cleaning out my mother-in-law's house, finding all sorts of cool shit in there. As the house goes on market on Monday and very possibly maybe sold by Friday.
I mean, the real estate market is crazy enough right now. It probably will only be on the market for a few days.
Dude, we're thinking it's probably going to be one of those things that, it's going to be, it goes on Monday. We're figuring the house is going to be sold by Friday, and then 90 days after that, and she's going to be here. A month ago, She was never moving anywhere. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm done. I'm out. Garage door fell on my foot. I'm out. So all of a sudden, here we are a month later. We've already put the house up on the market. And the good news is we're getting good coin for it. But holy shit, what a whirlwind. And 55 years worth of stuff. Anyway, that I can sit there and talk about all day and night. But we're going to go a little more topical at this point. Elon Musk's must-haves. Why even Elon Musk is actually trying to buy Twitter right now and what Twitter has to say about it, which frankly is not very positive. There's been some questions in this case about why he wants to do it. It is currently sitting at about $54 a share. So Elon Musk, $54 a share doesn't really count as money. So how quickly people have turned on the guy from Tesla.
I mean, Elon Musk is such a strange, maddening, sometimes cool, sometimes horrifying. It's just he's so all over the map. You don't know what to think.
Yeah,
at least I certainly don't, because there'll be some cool things that he comes out with, some charity things like Team Trees that he donates to. He does some good things. Tesla has some, as far as trying to move away from, move to more renewable energy. That's noble. But also, like, he does some good things, and then he'll come out of nowhere with saying or doing something so incredibly off the wall, batshit nuts, or horrifying, or whatever it could be interpreted as any kind of bad stuff. You're just like, oh no, this this guy needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
just like I'm not even totally understanding what led to the hissy fit of I'm gonna pay you $54 a share, and you're gonna take it or fuck off. I'm gonna, what probably is he's basically holding a gun to their head, saying, "Take my offer, or I'm gonna sell my stake, which will put your stock price in the toilet and ruin all of you." Hostile takeover, indeed. While I do have a finance and business background, it's because it's been a crazy week. Like we said, I haven't really had the time to read up on it. Like, wait, what the heck is going on? just, I read one video where he was saying that it was something about free speech. Okay. Sure. How that ties back to a social media platform, and, and just how do you regulate it? Oh, you can thumbs up and thumbs down things. So that's Reddit.
Yeah. That's YouTube.
that's and there's concerns that he's buying it for the possibility of letting certain politicians have a platform, and I don't know if that's the case or not. I really have not read up on it or not, or where that plays into it. But I know I've heard some people say that. Just why? You have more money than sense, more money than God, basically. Whatever God you believe in, and imagine having as with a lot of things these days, things are summed up best in a meme. Imagine having all the money to make the world a better place, but instead you use it to buy Twitter with the intent to make it an even worse place than it already is. Just why? I have enough going on in my life that I do not follow Elon on a regular basis, nor should anybody. But that's a whole other matter entirely. Why are we supposed to care about this week, and how did we get to a temper tantrum of threatening a hostile takeover of a social media company?
And here's the weird thing. I mean, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I understand from his mindset why. He's trying to do something with the Truth Network where, people that are loyal to him have a social media outlet that's just really just for the right side of things. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand the mentality. This one, I don't understand the mentality for, because it's like, why? I mean, on the other hand, also at the same time, I kind of don't care. But he's trying to, Musk is trying to buy it, yeah. But my question is, in this case here, is it really that big of a deal? Because you have all of these high-level people that run these things that are in charge. I mean, you look at it from like the news media outlet, you have the Rupert Murdoch, you have all of these people that basically just control so much there that Elon Musk would basically just join the fray. He's concerned a little bit, and thank you, Jeff. I appreciate this, by the way. He's concerned about the management and the direction of it. I'm not going to deny
they're not doing what he wants is basically what that means.
There is a fair amount of bullying and ostracization, if that's a word, going on Twitter. Maybe he's trying to curb that a little bit and make it a softer place. I don't know. Do I think Twitter could benefit from that? Yeah, I do. But I don't know if this is necessarily the way to do it. He has the money to do it. And truth be told, with the money to do it, just like Donald Trump, if he wanted to create his own social media platform and call it, Musk have social media or whatever phraseology you want to have, I don't know. He can do it easily enough. He's got the wherewithal. He's got the connection. I mean, he can make a satellite. He's been to space.
Yeah, he'll go launch it. He'll go launch it and put it up there himself if he wants to, right next to his car that he launched into space because reasons. Just
heavy metal. No, dude, there's a car flying in space.
Yeah, he's single-handedly put more junk in space than the entirety of NASA's history.
Well, see, that's the other side of it too. I mean, you look at the stuff that's already in space. I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, Pepsi tried to actually put an ad in space. I don't know if you knew this, but they tried to actually have
but
they tried to put the Pepsi logo in space, so you see it in the night sky.
Weren't they trying to project it onto the moon or something?
It was one of those things where it was shining in a specific spot, so you look at that angle and there's the Pepsi logo. And I can fully see something like that happening in the near future.
Like the Twin Towers beams of light, just much bigger and
but product placement. So basically you got Pepsi over here, and you got Google over there. Pfizer, that would work too. You could possibly have just the Pfizer logo up there as a little reminder. But that personally, as far as Elon Musk goes, I don't know. I can't figure this out.
Can't get it up. We can get you up to space,
dude.
Pfizer.
Twitter won't stop talking about it because they're concerned heavy that it's going to become some hardcore right-wing thing. Now, looking over his political leanings, and you've mentioned this before. This is, by the way, an article from independent.co.uk. His politics are exactly easy to pin down. He's donated to both, Democrats, Republicans. He's trashed on Trump, Bernie Sanders. He referred to, where was it? He referred to President Biden as a damn sock puppet in human form. So you don't really know what a guy like this. Why isn't he running for office?
Trolling everybody? He's used Twitter essentially. He's basically used his platform on Twitter to pump and dump cryptocurrencies at his whim. I'm going to say, I'm not taking Bitcoin at Tesla anymore. Price drops. He scoops it up. Yes, I'll take it. Price goes back up. Then he sells it. Like he made the whole Dogecoin thing, which was a meme joke that also became an Elon Musk thing. Just he's used Twitter to ramble, to pull weird stuff with cryptocurrencies, and I'm sure has made a ton of money in the process. So I guess this is just the next play in part of that. But it's people like that. It's like going to the casino, except they're playing with other people's money, and other people's livelihoods are at stake. Because also when it comes to this stock price, Twitter stock price, at Twitter, as is the case at a lot of tech companies, the people that work there also get stock as part of compensation, where you get your total compensation package is like 80% salary, 20% stock. And it has very limited vesting windows as far as when and how much you can cash out at a time. And so people's livelihoods, retirement funds, college funds, of the people who work there are tied up in all of this, and all of that could be obliterated on the whims of a billionaire throwing a hissy fit.
Basically. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it's bizarre in this case. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It'll pan out or very possibly just turn into literally nothing. So, all right.
Or to distract from something worse that he's doing, or some other news item or
distracting
some other horrible thing he's doing that wants everybody to talk about Twitter instead.
Well, switching, by the way, to from Twitter over to Facebook. I don't know if I told you this. I forgot if I did. But I actually got banned from live streaming on Facebook right now. Did I tell you that?
I know that there have been a few issues with various channels and various forms over the past few months. That there was a lot of trial and error, and nobody knows why. That basically you say like, what happened? You did a thing, so bye. Yeah, but what did I do? Bye.
Well, they actually told me. They actually told me what it was. But here's the weird thing about this. This actually cannot be streamed to Tales from the Film Set, or actually for that matter, Stream Punk Entertainment, on Facebook right now. And I can't live stream myself. I am under a current ban right now on Facebook. Because 4 years ago, and JT McGuire, he and I had a podcast called Film Yap. And it was basically just like, film, TV, movies, talking about pop culture, what's going on. And we did an episode which centered around a character that eventually came back and banned us. Now, fair warning ahead of time. This is Creep Central. So I'm just pointing that out. Be ready for this. That
thing.
That is Momo.
Yeah, I posted
Momo, basically, we remember Momo Momo is creepy as crap. I'm not going to argue that at all. Momo, Facebook came out last week and announced the fact that we got nailed for what was actually considered to be suicidal or self-harm comments. Now, in this case, I saw the post. They showed the post to me, and they said right outright, basically, this is the post that did it. And I'm like, basically, we have, it's the stuff of nightmares. And frankly, that is. And I'm going to pull this back off for a sec.
Yeah, we've seen
that image. Yeah, I think we're good. For some reason, I don't know. Let's see that. There we go. Facebook alerted me and said, we're banning you because of this post that you had 4 years ago on a Facebook page you're no longer using. And as a result, you cannot do live streams of any sort on any of your channels until April 27th. Because they flagged it 4 years after the fact.
I have heard of that happening a few times, and that's one of the reasons why I look at Facebook memories and see things I posted in my 20s after dealing with my father's death that are very cringy, and I'm just like, oh no, that's got to go. Because I've seen that with I've heard of that a few people that's happened to, where there will be some algorithm that reviews their account and they just and they review their account and misconstrue something, where you can't say that, where that's why you need, even certain words are triggers. Like you can't refer to somebody, to telling somebody to let's say
go kill yourself.
Yeah. You need they
can't say go kill yourself anymore on the internet.
Right. But you can be unalived. There's
alternatively living.
There's ways around. I've seen and said things like that because there's certain words that will trigger the algorithm and trigger additional review.
It's weird.
That's why I don't mention the names of various politicians to try and add to that. Not just one politician, multiple ones, multiple presidents of both parties, and
damn you, Grover Cleveland. But
it's
Nixon.
One of many.
It's not him, by the way.
Every week things are getting more dystopian one way or another.
It's curious in that regard. Yeah, and it's weird because you look at what's going on here in the United States, and you look at what's going on in places that habitually every single year have better, every March, the United Nations comes out with something called the World Happiness Index, where they have like 52 categories, like life expectancy, health of the citizens, healthcare, senior care, as far as charity work that everybody does. And, you always have their countries at the highest point. Your Finland, your Denmark, your Austria, your New Zealand. And then always it's like 16.
The countries actually give a crap about their people.
Yeah. 16 to 20 every single year is the United States. And by the way, congratulations, United States. You're back up to 16 again. So,
question mark.
But we were at 19 last year. I look for, there are certain things the UN comes out with every year that I get really, really excited about reading. And that one, every March 20th, I will hit bam, and I'll pull that PDF down to see where we land. I'll look at like the one for like the World Peace Index, where the United States, no joke, ranks about 110 right now out of like 162 countries.
It's hard to be peaceful when you have the artillery to blow up the world.
I think that's a big part of it. Where a lot of the stuff happening on foreign soil, but also our general stress level as a society. Right now, the United States statistically, and this is like my statistical brain working, the United States is the most stressed out first world country in the world. And no surprise, when I was driving into Brooklyn this morning for a COVID test at 5:30 in the morning, I had some guy on a bicycle threaten to beat the ever-loving fucking shit out of me, quote unquote, because he had his leg sticking so far out that it was actually in my lane as a driver. And I'm sitting there driving like this, being like, you're gonna.
We could do a whole episode on arrogant bicyclists.
Christ, yes.
That could be a whole other topic. We could do a whole separate show on
Countries giving a crap about their people. What are you, an alien?
yeah.
Well, I can
I
do
don't
a
know
nice
if you're
guy.
familiar with comic strips, Pearls Before Swine in
Oh my
particular.
God, yes.
No, but
Dude,
he has a recurring
that is
character, Jeff
genius.
the cyclist. Jeff spelt with one F, and
Hmm.
he is he is every stereotype of an arrogant cyclist, and it is fantastic.
I want that guy on this show, and I got to figure out how to do it. And I don't care if it ends up being a segment for like
I'd
awesome
imagine
people
going
talking about.
through the Comic Con channels is probably the best way to approach
Well,
that.
I mean, yeah, I have his actually I have his email, but I haven't actually been, I haven't actually gotten to that point. But Bill Pastis, I believe is his name.
Steve
The
Pastis.
stuff Steve Pastis, I'm sorry, thank you. The stuff that he writes, and the stuff that he goes into with this stuff, it's like that's exactly my frame of thought. Oh, wise ass on the hill. I'm just like, it's
Well,
basically goes up.
he had already pre-drawn strips of the strips of the guard duck.
Yes.
Somehow ended up ended up overthrowing the American government.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this was drawn before January 6th, and it was like scheduled to run the next week. And then that happened, and we were like, and they were like, oh no. And he even said, like, it was a much lighter hearted
I didn't know
version, but we're pulling it. We are not running that after
Yeah.
this.
But see, it's funny
But
because
it
apparently
wasn't even trying to predict anything in like a Simpsons kind of way. It was just I don't know if they later ran it. I didn't follow up on it, but I remember it was a big thing at the time. But just he'll come up with stuff like that, and
Mhm.
it's not quite Simpsons level, but it's up there.
It works though, because a lot of the stuff is about, and he's always very apolitical, but he explains the system where you have these random people just doing this to each other. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty much what social media is. You either die a hero or live and see yourself long enough to become a villain. But thank you. You try and do the right thing and eventually you fail. I know.
Yeah. Like there was a strip about the two parties.
9 times.
He did a strip about the two-party system in America, and people fighting about it. And then somebody comes along, hey, did you fix the thing? No.
Yeah.
Because they were just too busy fighting with each other the whole time.
But see, the funny thing about Pearls Before Swine is the fact that, actually, let me back that up. The thing about politics in general is that we're one of the only countries that has a two-party system. A lot of the other countries out there have 4, 5, 6, even like 40 in some cases. I'm seeing commercials for government people running for governor right now of New York. That whoever that guy is right now, some Democrat who's running for governor of New York. I'm seeing ads already, and it's 7 months before the election.
Oh, I live in PA. I'm seeing the Senate ads. Oh no, I am very close to putting up the money for ad-free YouTube just so I don't have to keep seeing those of the ones
for against
TV doctors, the ones that aren't actually fucking doctors, that are somehow trying to run for office.
Excuse me. Basically, I got my doctorate in music theater. That counts. I'm a doctor.
You're more of a doctor than some of the people that claim to be doctors on TV.
Well, yeah. But I pay for YouTube as far as like regular YouTube, not YouTube TV. YouTube itself is absolutely worth the $12.78 a month that I pay, because the ability to download everything on YouTube and put it through your car. So for all those rides that I have yesterday, in and out of White Plains, today in and out of Brooklyn, hour and a half, 2 hours in the car, I'm just sitting there blasting whatever music I want to blast, just because of the fact that it's downloadable. You go on, you put it on the phone, bam, just go. And it just saves it and it plays it right through the Bluetooth. I love it. It is so worth the price. And by the way, the cup of wine I just had is starting to kick in a little bit. So humor me a little. Like I said, it's
better. Mine too. Let's go.
Dude, it's been a week
of conversation for that. And that's what,
by the way, I just want to point out
Friday night show, and that's what that's all about.
Free advertising right now. This is Dragonfly Wine out of Maine. I 100% recommend it. Their winery is the best wine that I have ever had. Dragonfly, reach out to me. I'm willing to basically talk about advertising. And if we decide to do that Roku deal, I will make sure you get credit on that one too. Haven't decided about the Roku deal yet. But yeah, no, Dragonfly wine, get it if you can. But yeah, as far as like I said, the political system here, they have. I mean, I get why he's doing it. I get he's got to get a head start. He's got to get rolling ahead of time. But it's 7 months before the election, and already I'm seeing commercials. And it's like I can't watch a Yankee game anymore. So
if that doesn't make you question why spending a few hours a night watching Yankee games, I don't know what and the product that they put out, I don't know what does.
Dude, you know what? The older I get, the more I'm finding baseball to be a drag. I get like
it's a sport made for radio in a society that is not made for radio anymore.
I mean, I get like, if you ever saw Brockmire with Hank Azaria, brilliant series. He talks about the popularity of sports and baseball and how it's going downhill repeatedly. And it's like, yeah, I get it, because people are more entertained by what's on their phone than what they are as far as what's on, TV. And at best, baseball is background noise. Once every 30 seconds, a pitch is thrown. Meanwhile, I watch soccer, which is 45 minutes plus added time, and then there's a commercial break after that. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, you can also cut right through. They just have the ads right on the uniforms.
Yeah, well,
my lovely partner just heard this and came up and offered me a refill when she saw me finish up.
Thank you. By the end of this, we are going to be so absolutely gone too. I can guarantee it. I'm already going to top this one up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, here's the thing: NYCFC. I cover the New York City soccer football club, the soccer team, defending champs, by the way. And one of their sponsors is something called Dude Wipes. I don't know if you know what Dude Wipes are.
Yeah,
yeah.
Aren't they one of the title sponsors on the jersey?
It's on the side right here.
Yeah,
they got Eddie Hod across here. They got Dude Wipes over here. And it's just, really? Dude Wipes? And it's like, is Trojan? Yeah, Jeff Conn. Adult baby wipes.
Yeah, they are. That is essentially what they are.
My God, yes.
They're baby wipes, but more manly.
I can post a comment up here. I'd be like, but yeah,
you just take a baby wipe and spray Axe into it, and you have the same thing.
And yeah, so you see it prominently displayed. And it's funny, I am routinely on the NYCFC Reddit page because I'm sitting there in communication with the fans, letting them know what's going on. I did something earlier today with that. And a lot of them are just like, dude, really? You're the defending champs. You can't get something a little cooler than Dude Wipes?
They're probably locked into a contract, a multi-year contract.
They probably are. But it's, I mean, you deal with the agitation of the fact that, it's across the chest and they got Eddie Hod, which honestly is not as bad. The Minnesota team, by the way, their primary sponsor across the front is Target, but it's not the name Target, it's the logo.
So they just have a
giant bullseye right here. Yep, a giant bullseye right in the middle. And I'm sitting there, I think was that the game we were covering on Twitch?
Yes,
I forget.
Yeah, the Union and MSC game.
Yeah. By the way, Twitch actually on Stream Punk Sports has been really good. We got to talk about that in some time. But yeah, and it's funny because you see all these players,
the Union and they're doing which is a bakery, not a term for a woman.
And I had to look that up because I didn't know what bimbo was, obviously outside of the American term. And yeah, it's a very, very large baking company in Mexico. And okay, I get it from that standpoint, but really you can't rename it for the United States.
They have a big a big office and factory in the greater Philadelphia area. I'm not sure if it's on
you're down from there,
but they do have a corporate presence down here, so there is a reason for that. But I've seen people take pictures in front of a big bimbo sign, like some chick standing in front of the sign says thumbs up.
The 25-year-old with cleavage showing. It's like, hey, bimbo.
Yep, exactly.
Now, actually, here's a dumb question. I had somebody ask me this yesterday. Is there a Subaru factory down there by you, down in South Jersey?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because Subaru does have a U.S. plant, but most of the auto plants that aren't in Detroit are in southern states anymore. All the New Jersey ones closed decades ago. I think they're still cleaning up the pollution at an old Ford plant in Mahwah, which now has a hotel on it. It's still a super fun site.
Yeah. Oh, I grew up just south of Mahwah, so I'm well versed in that, and also well versed in the Nabisco factory, which sadly no longer smells like cookies. That was really fun when you drive up like Route 4 westbound
Yeah,
or 208, whatever it was.
that wasn't the one that
But
burned down. Or no, it was the Markel paper that burned down.
yeah, that was the Markel one that burned down. Yeah. Speaking of burning, I don't know if I told you, but I actually saw a straight up fire the other day on the Harlem River. Just a straight fire in the Bronx. Just
In the Bronx or the river? Like
no,
which
in the
level?
in the
Which level of New York City 1970s dystopia are we at this week?
the one where basically random people actually open my car door while I'm sitting in my car in Brooklyn. That's the dystopian future that we're in right now. And yes, that really did happen. That was last week. No, this was something that I was coming off like 95 off GW, heading down to the Harlem River in Bronx, and I'm just looking to my left. And it's like, there's a giant fucking fire right there. So I called 911. Apparently, no one called them yet because they're like, yeah, we didn't get any report. They just like so he's asking like 1,000 questions, like where exactly is this? I'm like 179th Street, right past Yankee Stadium, right basically Amsterdam Ave. I'm giving all these specific information on this, and I'm thinking to myself, no one called about this.
There's a building on fire and nobody,
no, it was just the grass.
Built up to a pretty big fire by this point, and nobody bothered to call.
Dude, the grass was on fire. I don't even know what it was or how it started. And like obviously they sent somebody down. They sent the FDNY to take care of it, but it was just like.
Well, where I live in, just south of Philly, is there's a lot of refineries and chemical plants down here. Think the Turnpike tanker farms. So there's a lot of that in just off I-95 south of Philly and 291 along the waterfront. Near where where Subaru Park, the Philadelphia Union Stadium is. Where Biden actually name dropped the Marcus Hook refineries, which are nearby, in one of the presidential debates when talking about renewable energy or something. I don't know. Again, not a political statement. It was just weird since he's from the area and we're watching it on TV. Like he just name dropped a place that's 10 minutes away. That's weird.
What's also weird? I spent a lot of my summers in a stupid rural part of Virginia. A place that, for starters, did not actually have a street name. And it was about a 5-minute drive just to get to the nearest town. And that town has never broken 800 people. So the town celebrated when they got traffic.
My parents, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, after my dad was out of work for a while, my parents briefly considered moving to rural Virginia and opening up I only just found out the full story behind this recently, like within the past year or two, from my mom, where they tried to open up a crafting and woodworking store down in Southwest Virginia. Like somewhere, like there was, I think they looked at some spots around Roanoke.
Sounds like basically where I spent a lot of my time.
Yeah, it was like Roanoke. There was another one in Southern Virginia, like Alta Vista. Or Lynchburg area, I don't know, but like South Bumblefuck, way outside of DC and Richmond, but ultimately they decided not to because me and my mom probably would have been fine, but my dad and I probably would not have. Coming from New York, New Jersey down to rural Virginia, no way. And that's like the places where they have schools that teach you that Jesus in the textbooks that Jesus rode dinosaurs. So that would not have gone well.
He did. Yeah, I was say Jesus did ride the dinosaurs too.
Jesus rode the dinosaurs to deliver the Constitution to George Washington. Like this is
Yes, and then single-handedly took a sword to the British and basically just, his fiery sword of Jesus justice.
Right.
But yeah,
I gave the silver bullets to Abraham Lincoln to hunt vampires.
But yeah, that did happen. That was actually based on a very true story. But yeah, this is the part of Virginia, like I said, the southwest part, where they celebrated when they got a traffic light, and blows my mind that this place actually, this was the place, the nearby town out, where they had to drive to get to. Had one gas station that did your taxes, did taxidermy, and also sold fried chicken. Is the one gas station. Now
that's one-stop shopping.
Dude, it totally was. And then eventually, like in the 1990s, after I've been going down there for 10 years, they finally got a Food Lion. and everybody celebrated because they didn't have to do the 25-mile drive to the town of Farmville, by the way, which is where this is doubling back to, which actually had a supermarket there.
I
But
only
Glenn,
know about Farmville, Virginia is an actual place because I read about it a month ago because of Longwood University.
that's
It's
where I
down
was
there.
going with it.
That's
They
the
held
only.
they held a presidential debate at Longwood University, which, forgetting how bad that name is, and I know you and I were talking about like various athlete names. You had threw in Dick Pound.
Yeah,
We had Dickie Nutt, who was just signed, I think, by Mizzou. Dick Trickle,
assistant coach
the
at Missouri, brother of Houston Nutt, former Arkansas football coach.
yeah. So yeah, we got Dickie
his name
Nutt,
Dickie
Dick
Nutt and
Trickle, and
Dick Pound.
Pound. A
They're
lot of dicks
actual
here.
people. People pick
By
these
the way, I'm
names.
sitting here watching this as by the way, as Jeff is learning how to be the producer on this in the back end, I'm watching everything he's doing to see if any of this stuff is working or not. Supposedly it is, and maybe because basically he's as drunk as we are. I don't know. But
Okay, why not?
but yeah, Longwood University, it blew my mind because they had the presidential election there. And I'm like, or the debate there. And I was like, wow, Farmville, Virginia is on the map. It's Farmville. It is a town.
Yeah, I hear Farmville and I think of that game from about 10, 12 years ago where you built it where you built a
Harvest
farm and got
crops.
chocolate milk from brown cows. Like,
Dude, apparently 7%
didn't
of the
know it was an
population
actual
believes
place.
that's how you get chocolate. I read something the other day that apparently like 7% of the population legit believes that's how you get chocolate milk from
Only
brown cows.
7%? I'm surprised it's not more.
Give it time. I mean, basically, again, it's Flat Earth Society, Holocaust, deniers and all this kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. Jeff's like, I did till I was
It's one thing to
4.
believe
Yeah.
it as a 4-year-old, but
Not
there's
40.
grown-ass adults that believe this.
Yeah. And I think the older that, or we get, and as the younger generation comes up, and, I could totally 100% see them be like, the moon landing was definitely fake. There was no stock market crash in 1929. World War II never happened. No, not a thing. I could 100% believe that basically the internet is going in that direction.
You watching Netflix?
Maybe that is why
Dark
Elon
Tourist?
Musk is buying Twitter.
Do you watch a Netflix show, Dark Tourist?
No, but I know of it.
There was because there's a few in that last thing. There was a few episodes that just played into that. There was where it was only one season. It's about 8 episodes where a journalist from New Zealand goes to places around the world that have some macabre or death tourism factor attached to it. Like he went to Japan and places that were radiated to all hell from Fukushima. Like even worse than Chernobyl. And these are the places that they're trying to get people to move back to, but there's a little, no, not just the ocean was radiated. Like there was an entire prefectures that are basically abandoned.
Dr. Wily from Mega Man is based on Albert Einstein. And if you see Dr. Wily, you can see Albert Einstein in it because the Japanese made it. It was 40 years after, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they actually patterned one of the most classic, game villains of all time after Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you mentioned, Netflix shows and everything like that. This is actually something that I wanted to talk about. I know we talked about this a little bit, and I know you guys actually saw an episode or two, but we were planning to talk a little bit about the series Old Enough, which centers around 2-year-old kids in Japan going to, let me flip it to that screen. That's better. That's better like that. About 2-year-old kids going to the market or doing, food, food shopping, or doing all these random things because they're 2 years old. And a lot of parents are outraged because it's like, they're too young to do it. And I'm like, this is Japan. Their murder rate is like 12 times less than it is here. What's that?
It's Japan. That's just really all you need to say that explains a lot of things.
Their crime rate is like this. Ours is like this because their court system is totally done differently because they have like former lawyers and former judges on like the jury panel. And they're like, yeah, this is bullshit. It's not going to work. But a lot of people are livid about the fact that this show exists.
We watched a video about the lost and found system in a city in Japan, and just the about how efficient it is and how people and how people get basically the only thing that doesn't eventually get back to its rightful owner is umbrellas because
Mhm.
they're so cheap that you just buy another one. But it was a crazy percentage where just something gets lost, it's returned. There's special police precincts or whatever, or like
Mhm.
local community officers that that's kind of the main interaction is that kids are taught from a young age of oh, somebody loses, if you find a wallet that somebody dropped, you go to the nearest whatever officer and drop it off.
The police
It
boxes,
just
they call it, I think. Yeah. Well, if you ever look at the kids in like elementary school, they help with the cleaning of like the cafeteria. They handle it. They do a lot of the work that's involved because they're trying to train these kids at the age of 10 or 11. I could never see that happening here in the US. Never.
people are oppressed when you ask them to put a mask on. You really think they're
Ooh,
going to clean up
we're
after
gonna get from
class?
it's funny, yeah, really. Um, I in my case with the film industry and everything like that, and it's good. It works out well because I get credit for health insurance days on it. But they have a mandate on there. It's like A, you have to be double vaxxed. B, you have to be boosted, and C, you have to have a mask on set until you're rolling. They don't fuck around in Hollywood. There is no,
Nor
we have the
should they.
contract. Yeah, the contract exists until the end of the month. But a lot of people, I knew a guy who lost 22 people to COVID. You know, I'm at 6. He's at 22. And I'm
Lost
like,
as
yeah,
in
I got
lost
it.
as in died.
As in died.
Wow.
He had 22 people that he knew died, including 3 people that were really tight with him. He ran one of the stages at Broadway stages in Brooklyn. And he's like, yeah, I lost 3 people that were really close to me and a total of 22 people. And that's, like I said, that's so he's like, I am 100% in favor of the whole masking policy and just not
Right.
screwing around.
I mean,
Yesterday, I
I
saw,
don't mean to get this. I don't mean to get this into a COVID debate or anything political or anything like that. That
no, I'm
was
just saying what
that
Hollywood
was
is.
not
I
where I
saw,
was trying to go with that. But shutdowns equal lost money, so
Mhm.
they don't fuck around. So understandably,
Yeah,
they don't fuck around. Mhm.
here's the thing. Everybody has to go through that, the double vax, the booster, and the mask and everything like that. I saw James Spader walking by yesterday. He had a face shield on, not just the mask, but he had the face shield. He went a full 9. Now, obviously, James Spader is here, and I'm down underneath the floor. But in this case here, they don't screw around, especially when you're like number 1 on the call sheet. This obviously was blacklisted, it's his show and everything like that, 9 seasons. So they're not going to screw around with a guy like that. But I
I
was
didn't
a
realize
little
that show was still
surprised to
on.
see I was surprised to see him walking with a face shield on, and it was interesting to see. But again, this is, like I said, this is what Hollywood is running with at least until the end of the month, and we'll find out from there. But again, it's no debate, no argument. It's very simple. You do this or you don't work, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I got a mother-in-law who beat cancer 4 times. Makes her feel better. Fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah. And she's okay with me mentioning that on there, by the way. Just want to point that out. But yeah, as far as like this goes, I mean, like I said, this is Japan. Japan does what Japan does, and that's completely 100% understandable that you got these 2-year-old, 3-year-old kids who can actually do this kind of stuff. Here, you got 20-year-olds that are like, I don't know what to do. It's like I know
The episode of this that I watched, and also these children aren't being completely let out into the wilderness. There's a production crew following them. Local authorities and citizens have been alerted that this is not a completely unattended minor, that this is for a TV production, and there are people watching, who will intervene if shit gets really bad. So it's not like they're completely put in danger.
Mhm.
So, and it does build that kind of ethos as far as, it's a society that self-reliance is encouraged,
Mhm.
where it is, and this helps in confidence. The episode we watched was a girl. I think she was 4, and she had a younger sister who was very sickly, who she helped care for. So and the mom is an overwhelmed wreck. So like, even at age 4, this is a child who's been through some shit. So so to do something like that, and then they sent her out to make a hat for a shrine there was a hat that was made for a shrine. I forget the name of it. Of a figure that is supposed to watch over and bring good luck or something. Um, I'm I'm not even going to attempt to. I'm
Well,
not.
Shinto
I don't.
isn't that
I
great
mean no
either, yeah.
disrespect with this. Just I'm genuinely forgetting the name and all that goes with it. So I'm just trying to.
あとはバカの目、
The
目で感じ
list
るん
of
だ
my
よ。
name. I'm just trying to grab whatever things I
も
can
うあれだ、も
and go with it. Um, and the child went to the farm to pick up some vegetables, but the vegetables had already been set aside.
う。うん。
But the child didn't catch on to, and they were in a barn or garage or something off to the side, and but the child didn't know this and went out into the cabbage patch and spent a long time, like it was light, and they showed it getting to dusk, of this child trying to yank a head of cabbage out of the ground that was half the size of this child's. But eventually got it, and eventually did get home, and was yay, I did it. Like so, yes, it's messed up to Americans since it's not something that we have here. But so anything of any culture that isn't what you or anybody from whatever country, something that is you didn't grow up as a part of this, so you don't understand it, so you think it's weird.
Exactly.
And that's something that society encourages. But
and you compare it to what
this is weird, messed up, whatever. But no, it's just to a certain point, at least, it's just how they do things. Don't crap on them for it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's how it works. We're supposed to hate things that are different from ourselves. That's how the internet works. Now, one of the things that actually does have a curious quirk as far as Netflix goes in this case here, and this originally came from the UK and then got ported over to the US, we have sexy beasts. The idea of blind date, and Ryan actually gets this and appreciates it and actually gets the idea, and I understand it. The idea of going on a blind date and having no concept of what the person looks like. I think Devani actually talked about this tip. And having no concept whatsoever about what the person in front of you looks like. And I can kind of say I'm a little intrigued by the concept of it.
I mean, Love is Blind is also a version of this.
Basically, yeah. But it started out apparently as a
So
TV
this is
show
just a furry version of Love is Blind, is what this looks like.
So you got the Minotaur dating the panda in this case. We could obviously tell that the Minotaur might be in decent shape. The panda looks like maybe in decent shape for, but by my understanding from people that have actually watched the show, at the end of it, in this case, if it's a girl, she has like 3 different dates. So she's got, she's got Minotaur guy, and maybe she has like a hippo or something like this. And then she has to pick one of them and find out what they look like underneath and find out if it is one of those things that, much like that show, if you remember, there was a show, Jerry Springer had a show where, called Baggage. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. Baggage was a show.
I'm not a reality TV fan. Love is Blind, my partner fell into recently. So, and I watched parts of a few episodes for kicks. So that's the only way I know that. I don't watch any of these shows on the regular.
Robin and I watched it. It was on Pluto TV. We found a few episodes, and it centers around basically you got some girl and like like one guy and 3 girls in this case here. And the question, there's various things that they have to talk about which are true in their lives, but you can't know which baggage is too weird. So in one example, basically, basically. So every story is true, but it's a matter of which one ties to which woman. So you could have or basically which guy. So if you have a woman and you got 3 guys there, and in this case here, he's got an example where he only likes sex if it's anal sex, or he's foreclosed on 9 different mortgages, or is in is polyamorous and is in has married to like 5 people. Which one can you accept? And then little by little you narrow it down until you get to like the really bad shit. And I mean, like the hardcore.
Wait, go through those again. We had the person who foreclosed on 9 times, which I didn't think that you were allowed to have mortgages after like 3. But
yeah, Or
How?
basically the guy he only wants anal, he doesn't want anything else. And then some other guy who's who either is like married to 3 women or has been married 6 times. It's just these really hardcore things. And then what they do is
That's
they
an
start
easy
breaking.
one. If it goes between foreclosure, anal guy, and the poly person, go with the poly person. They at least, they're the most truthful
There's
one out of
commitment to like
all
4
of
or 5
them.
there. I do to all y'all. Jeff's like, take care. Yeah, but it was like I said, it was stuff like that, and then it got progressively worse and worse until you finally break it down to the one. You find out what their real big. Each one had like three bits of baggage, and you find out, can you accept their baggage? And that's really what it came down to. And it was staged because a lot of these people were actually actors that had IMDb pages. We looked them up, and we're like, that dude looks familiar. Oh shit, he did 5 episodes of Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
Big surprise. Reality
Hey,
shows.
that's the Cialis bathtub boner guy.
Yeah, really. I'm sorry. They can't say boner on air. They just like show a banana or like, an eggplant or something, right? they have that commercial where they have like the dude holding a carrot down here. But yeah, it was this Jerry Springer show after the Jerry Springer show, and it was just odd. But this is, I guess, in some ways kind of the same sort of thing where, can you accept the person for what the personality is and things like that? So I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of respect it in some ways. I think it's got some degree of class, albeit quirk. But it probably did better in the UK because people in the UK are a little different than they are in the US and have a little bit more of an old school mentality, I guess we'll call
it. That could go. I mean, yeah. We watch. Bless you. As I'm thinking about it, we watch more British and Japanese television shows in my house than American ones, and I'm okay with. I'm okay. I am 100% okay with that. Dude, even if a few of them say, "Hey, what the hell," but I'm fine with it.
What do you guys
was produced by a furry who wanted to make it seem more socially acceptable. Yep.
Possibly, yeah. Now, what are you guys watching there? Because right now, I've got anime on, a lot of times off the laptop because, Robin will sit there and watch like Law and Order, American Greed, or all the like dark brooding things, and I'm just like, cut the wrist. But
we just finished Human Resources, which was the Big Mouth spinoff.
Okay. I don't know that one.
We watched a lot of animated stuff. Like adult animation type.
JoJo, yeah, you mentioned JoJo. I started JoJo, but I got to get back to it. Right now, I'm working through Hajime no Ippo, which if you ever like
which JoJo, because I keep getting mixed up by the multiple JoJos out there. If you have kids, there's one JoJo or JoJo Siwa, because we have a
not JoJo Siwa. That's the Instagram.
We have a nephew over, and JoJo is always on the TV, and then JoJo apparently went behind a paywall, so JoJo's not on YouTube anymore.
JoJo Siwa was on Dancing with the Stars, which, by the way, got canceled. I think
Dancing with the Stars was canceled
after ABC. Yeah, no,
after 20 years.
15 years, I think 30 seasons is what happened with it. Yeah, because Robin loves the shit out of that. I hate it. I have no interest in this whatsoever. And she's even like, I hate the show. It's like, why are you watching it? Because it's there. I've invested. I've spent so many years watching this. I'm very fun.
I always think of. You ever see the movie based on the biography for Howard Stern's Private Parts?
Yes.
I love the clip where Paul Giamatti, that was before I realized years later that was Paul Giamatti in that role of Pig Vomit, the program director at the station that hated Stern, where he was going over with the. I know there's 2 JoJos unique. That was what I was saying, is that JoJo Siwa and the JoJo Kids one are different, and
JoJo Bizarre Adventures. That's actually really popular. I got to spend more time working on that too. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, but crap, lost my
private parts.
Yes, the scene where Pig Vomit is going over the Arbitron ratings with the business manager. and just okay. So ratings are this. The average radio listener listens for 10 minutes at a time. The average Stern lover
Right.
listens to radio for an hour at a time. The average Stern
But
hater listens for 2 hours. Why? And the reason for both, the ones who loved and hated Stern, were I want to see what he does next.
yeah, and you know what? I just looked it up. That movie is
So,
not
so Robin's thoughts about I hate this, but I'm still watching it just made me think of that.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. And apparently, I mean, here's the thing. There was a new exec producer that came in. So the popular host that they had, Aaron Andrews, and I think I can't the other guy, I can't remember what his name is, but there was a tandem that was very, very popular. They fired the two of them off and brought in Tyra Banks. And
Opie and Anthony?
apparently, what's that?
Opie and Anthony in New York?
Mm-mm. No, and Dancing with the Stars, they brought in.
I thought you were talking about radio. Never mind.
No. Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, like I said, they got rid of Aaron Andrews and the other guy who was a bit of an older guy, but he was immense. They both were immensely popular and they had good charisma and good energy. And a new exec producer came in, fired them both off, brought in Tyra Banks, and everybody's like, I fucking hate Tyra Banks. Yeah, she's terrible at this. She makes the entire thing about her, and we want her gone. Every single time. It's like watching Joe Buck whenever he broadcasts, where Joe Buck will instantly trend on Twitter, except in this case, it's Dancing with the Stars, and Tyra Banks is trending every time. And they canceled Dancing with the Stars after 15 years. I mean, it might get picked up someplace or something like that. But
even I'm sure it'll get picked up as. See, that's the other thing. Is it network shows if they're on, especially if they're on linear network TV. Shows don't really die anymore usually, especially if they have been on for a while and have a dedicated following. Like it'll be canceled off of a major network after 5-6 seasons or whatever, but it'll be picked up somewhere else. It'll be picked up on Netflix, Hulu, whatever. Like
it could be.
We have so many. There is so many. Yeah, Futurama has been canceled and uncanceled 3 times now.
Yeah. Well, Futurama,
and I think Futurama is going on Hulu, not Netflix. That's another thing. Trying to navigate the 18 million streaming services out there. Who has where? Do you want to sign up for this service in order to watch one show? Like this is, it's getting to the point where there's so many of them out there that if you were to subscribe to them all, it costs just as much as the cable subscription you canceled, and you still have to pay for internet from that same shitty cable company.
And Brandon was bitching about that the other day because, as a long-term Mets fan, they had games where they were broadcasting on Apple TV, and he was like, "This broadcast is basic. I mean, it's low-end trash." Is
Apple TV using their own feed, or are they just patching in the SNY feed or whatever?
No, it's their own people. They're
using their own people. Oh, I've used to subscribe to Apple TV, but just. All right.
Yeah. He said
they have a separate channel of their own people simulcasting the same game.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They had Chris Young, if you remember, from the Mets and the Yankees.
Yes,
the other teams.
I do.
Some other broadcasters, I forget who. But his biggest complaint.
Hey, more job opportunities for Stream Punk Sports. I'm all for it. I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. Please hire us.
Why do you think I'm using Twitch as a training ground?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night I'm doing the USFL New Jersey Generals game. Because I have not had a New Jersey Generals game since 1985. And basically, if you see over in the corner there, those are official New Jersey Generals 7-Eleven cups from 1985. So I plan to cover the Generals game tomorrow when the USFL re-premieres again. Who knows how long it's going to last, but I'll take it what I can get. But
once it's a season 2, then it's done better than every spring football league since the original USFL.
AAF went seven games and then had to fold. XFL went 6 games that had to cancel due to COVID. That wasn't their fault. They put in good ratings. But next year,
I think they would have made a second. I think that under normal circumstances, XFL would have at least made a second season.
2, 3, 4 seasons easily. I covered the New York Guardians team. I saw what was going on right there.
Yeah.
I had my finger in the pulse of everything happening. That was a league that was going to go somewhere. That was a league that was smarter than the first time around. And let's see, trade secret plans. Secret plans are not of the. But
is anybody taking our trade secrets seriously when we sharing a screen with furries currently?
Exactly. How do you take this seriously? And I've already. Okay. This was full. This is now down to here. I have finished off almost 2/3 of this at this point easily, and I can feel it in my head a little bit right now. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah,
why not? Let's roll with it.
The XFL, like I said, it had potential. I mean, it was the St. Louis team was drawing better ratings than the St. Louis Blues, the hockey team, and the hockey team just won the Stanley Cup. This fledgling XFL team in St. Louis drew better TV ratings. So I knew that thing was going to go somewhere because it wasn't meant to be what it was 20 years ago, where it's like, this is extreme football. This ain't your daddy's football anymore. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is actually a piece of shit. It was something that was meant to be a training ground. So if the USFL does well this year, and then you got the XFL next year, there's going to be a battle going on between the two of them.
I think that ultimately what they can go with, and what I think the USFL is going for this time around in long term, is not so much trying to they're not trying to defeat the NFL, but they're trying to work with them. You know, the same way that yes, always,
yes, always.
So is that the same way that Major League Baseball uses unaffiliated leagues like the Atlantic League to test out rule changes, the robot umpires, the pitch clock, where certain things have been. Where I haven't even read up on all the rules. Like there's a 3-point conversion or something. I think was one of the things that was being toyed with. I always think about the NFL Blitz video game from about 20 years ago, where you had where it was excessively violent, like cartoonishly violent. That back in the days before EA got exclusivity with Madden, so there were multiple NFL.
I remember Blitz, you could score like 109 points in the game easily, and not even like drawing cheat or anything like that.
Yes, but one of the things with that was after you scored a touchdown, you could choose a point. You could say, "We want an extra point, and we'll just give it to you," or you could go for 2. I want to see that rule in the NFL so bad, but you can go for 2 from a. They tried to do it, but you still have to kick the extra point. Like, just let's make the 2-point conversion and everything more interesting. If you're going to do, kickoffs are inherently dangerous plays when it comes to football, so I'm okay with getting them eliminated in one form or another. But there's other ways that you can tie with it. I've seen some forums where people have done like educated guess of like if and also regarding the overtime rules of if you win the coin toss, you can choose where you start on the field, and and if you score from a certain point, you have another chance. But if not, like there's so many different ideas out there, and I know we've been rambling for a while, but
sorry. Like I said, it's the drugs.
And oh yes, it would cause extreme chaos in NFL gambling, which is exactly why I want it.
Dude, NFL gambling.
Let's troll some casinos. I'm totally okay with this.
Jesse Caulfield from, I think, what is it, DraftKings? The amount of money she gets for being the DraftKings spokesperson, it's insane. It's insane how much money she makes from this, because sports betting is so regulated, so routine now, that I would fully expect that DraftKings is going to start expanding out into Dancing with the Stars. DraftKings, Dancing with the Stars. Who's going to get voted off? Is it going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Johnny Damon, or basically, Hot Chick McBoobalicious? No, not going to be Hot Chick McBoobalicious. You ain't going to.
Bill Veeck was ahead of his time. Legendary baseball. Bill Veeck, a legendary baseball promoter, was ahead of his time. He owned multiple Major League Baseball teams. Including the Cubs at one point. The Ivy at Wrigley Field was his idea. He had all kinds of some ideas were great and were commonly accepted promotions that are still used to this day. Some were epically terrible, like Disco Demolition Night.
That was him? Oh God.
It was him and his son. I actually met his son, Mike Veeck, owns several minor league baseball teams, and he's fantastic dude. I met him at the Hall of Fame at Cooperstown back in college.
Mhm.
Great guy. But he was but he's carrying on his father's legacy. But
Mhm.
back in the 1940s, when he owned the St. Louis Browns at one point, sending the little
Mhm.
person up to the plate,
Yes.
was his idea. Um, but
Guy walked before
he
pitches
also
though.
had a fan be a manager night
Mhm.
where
Hmm.
people would get where the people in certain sections would get signs to hold up, and they would ask, do you want a pinch hit here? Bunt or swing, curveball or fastball, and people would hold up signs saying, what they wanted to do, and then they made a whole big theatrical thing of the manager just sitting in a recliner, on the in foul territory, just chilling with a drink or whatever, because he's off for the night because the crowd is doing his job for him. This
Mhm.
was around like 1950 that he did this. Fast forward to now, and Johnny Manziel is part of the thing. I think it's a
Yes.
fan-controlled football league. It's
Oh, just
essentially the same
genius.
thing, just in modern times. Bill Beck did it 70 years ago with the technology available at the time. Like that's how far ahead it was, and those true marketing. It does take a level of. I mean, there's a fine line between genius and insanity, but that's what it takes, especially in something like baseball, where you get about as much progress as you get from a session of Congress these days to get any kind of change in the
Going
game.
back to the political route.
Right, it takes an act of Congress to determine that it shouldn't take 5 minutes from between one pitch to another for somebody to step off the
What,
mound, throw
what
a
was the, what
pickoff
was the line
throw,
from
for the batter to
Gallagher?
step out of the batting box after every freaking pitch to adjust his balls. It's like just the
Yeah, who was it? James McCann, that I think of the Mets, the catcher of the Mets, sits there and like grabs his balls between every single pitch.
I haven't watched the Mets enough to know that, but I'm not
We
surprised.
like every he
I always
it's
think of David Ortiz. Um,
okay. Yeah, I think it's McCann that basically sits there and like readjusts his cup like every single pitch. So he's sitting there just on like national television or whatever it is during the broadcast, and he's just like, you know,
Right. My favorite is when they pan over to when they pan over the first baseman right as he's adjusting his cup.
exactly. Yeah.
That
Well,
happens a few times every game.
I remember when A Rod was with the Yankees. We have to start wrapping this up pretty soon. But I remember when A Rod was with the Yankees. Apparently, he had like a booger in his nose, and he fired off a snot rocket like on Fox, like the national broadcast, and you just see and you just see it fly out.
I worked in my background was working in basketball, and so I was a manager on my high school team, and for a year in college. And I remember a game in high school where one of the players during a timeout just straight up spit on the floor, and then just tried to like do like some kind of bird just trying to cover up his, like he just spit on the
Like,
floor, not on the
wipe with
court
his
play,
foot or
but like
something.
on the painted area of the sideline, just spit on the floor, and then just ran his shoe over it to try and grind it into, like he's trying to grind it into the ground, but it's a hardwood floor of a basketball court, so it's still just this
Yeah,
icky spot that he left
it
there.
gets soaked up by your shoe a
Fucking
little
gross
bit, but not
idiot.
much.
And while the coach is talking about whatever in the timeout, he's not listening to this, and he's one of the
Mhm.
starters, and he just goes out and spits on the side.
Nice.
Athletes are gross. The one of some of the most gross places I've ever been to in my life is baseball dugouts. Oh God,
Mhm.
sunflower seeds in baseball.
Oh
Dear
yeah,
God.
dude, tobacco on top of that and everything like that. Oh yeah, you know. And as I'm trying to work my way into like the New Jersey Jackals and a lot of the Atlantic League teams and everything like that, which I think I'll be able to get. So
I
stay
interned for the
tuned to that.
Jackals. That's a Yogi Berra Stadium's a very nice place.
It really is. I'm impressed by it, and for me, it's local as hell. You know.
Well, it's real close for you.
Oh yeah, it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
And here's the funny.
The Camden River Sharks don't exist. Otherwise, I'd be all anymore. Otherwise,
Mm,
I would jump on that down here.
that's
Minor
awesome.
league baseball is it's part sports, part carnival county fair.
It
It
has a
is,
nicer feel, yeah. You know.
but also like because of the insane insane prices and fees that you need to pay to go to a major league sporting event, whether Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, whatever. That's out of the price range of most folks.
Yeah.
So minor league baseball, high school baseball, college baseball, whatever, are good ways to get a part of the game. So like Major League Baseball does not own the sport of
Mhm.
baseball. So
That's yeah.
there's plenty of ways around that. But minor league baseball is a certain level of fun. I worked in promotion. I was a promotions intern,
Hmm.
so there's all kinds of stuff that goes in with that, which depending, mileage may vary per team. But Yogi Berra Stadium is very good by minor league standards,
Mhm.
and I can't speak for the team itself or the management or anything because it's turned over multiple
They're
times.
actually they're reigning champions, I think, too. It's usually between them and the Sussex Miners, and I know the broadcaster for the Sussex Miners. So
Yeah, the I knew the broadcaster years ago who I went because they used to work with the William Patterson radio station
okay,
for their games at the time.
which is also actually
W,
basically
WSU
Brett
did
Luther
work
does
there,
Thursday
so I
too.
worked with them a bit too.
Mm.
See, this too could be monetized for
Mhm.
for certain
Actually,
things.
well,
It is not.
my shirt is the Nostromo from Alien, so I don't think
Yeah,
we can monetize that. At least not for another 400 years.
no, but
So
these are my people. I graduated
I know
and
you're
I worked at
absolutely
SAU, so I'm totally going to plug
yeah.
them, rent free.
I gotta talk to you next week about what's happening with that and everything like that. So, but
Yeah, and
not as much as
unless
right.
Elon Musk buys them. If Elon Musk
Exactly.
wants to buy a Catholic university in New Jersey, good luck.
Why? So anyway, it's like 8:15 at this point. We're probably gonna wrap it up. It's Friday night. I could go on for another 2-3 hours. Part of me kind of is like tempted because, like I said, I'm down to this much as far as like the alcohol goes. Part of me is kind of tempted to just finish this, but the last time I did, I literally passed out underneath the toilet. So maybe I will call it. Different reasons in
But
this
wait,
case. That was depression. This is just just kind of just enjoyment and just de-stressing after a long week.
hey, you drink
Also,
drinking for fun reasons is
dude, I
way
got a
better.
weird feeling. I'm just not really verbal right now. So what sounds logical in my head might on your side be like blah, 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 tuna fish,
No,
you know.
you're. I'm sure you're more articulate than I am. My partner just
No,
opened
dude,
the door and
you're
handed me
fine.
a
You're
bottle of
fine. I'm
water
more worried
before.
about
So,
myself. Jeff, by the way, has basically every word out of his mouth has been perfect today. He has said nothing 100% wrong because he's not on camera, so you can say whatever. But yeah, as far as this goes, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm glad somebody's enjoying our our commiseration here or whatever. Like I
yeah.
said, this has been
Thank
the
you to
week.
Jeff, Unique, Devion, and all of our viewers. That
Thank
are
you.
interacting with us. You can
Oh, sorry,
follow me
sorry.
since Scott is in the band Hammer. You can follow me, JD Walker, on Facebook. I broadcast a simulcast on Facebook Live. You can comment there, and we will and all of our other channels you can take up from there.
By the way, I get giddy drunk sometimes. I think it's hitting full. I think it's hitting full tilt right now. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a little bit.
you're struggling with words now. So we
I
can
can't
wrap this up.
me not good speak English talkness. Yeah. Um, as far as basically this goes, like I said, I needed this. Like I said, it's been a tough week. The passing of a guy named Kieran and also Gilbert Gottfried, who's been an amazing human being to me and my family in so many ways. That was tough for me, and a thousand other things that have happened. This has been arguably the toughest week that I've had in probably 20, 25, even 30 years.
I never met
So this right
Gilbert.
here helps.
I
What's that?
never met Gilbert, but I've heard from
Oh,
multiple people that he's genuine. He's one of the good people. I know of your work. You mentioned your work with him. I
yeah.
know somebody who
It
did.
was hard.
I know a guy who did. He did a lot of the voiceovers and announcements at
Mhm.
Hoboken Film Festival. So he knew Gilbert from that.
Oh,
Um,
that I know that guy. I forget the name, but I know the guy you're talking about.
I'll PM you the name, but
Yeah,
he
I know
probably
that I've met him before because I was tied to the Hoboken Film Festival for a while.
yeah,
But yeah,
I just realized while telling this story that you two probably know each other.
oh, dude, yeah, yeah. Because
So
it was always him and like some other woman, like maybe it's a husband and wife combo or something.
no, this guy isn't married.
Okay,
But
maybe it was just somebody
we'll
he
talk
knew. But I
offline
remember,
about that. But just I've heard multiple people that work with him or met him at events or at Comic Cons or whatever. There was one meme that I saw somebody post of the genie and Yago together again, and that
all
broke
that.
me.
Yeah,
Just
he just let me throw this out here. Like I said, very soft, very. Here's the thing about Gilbert Gottfried: he was always very quiet. So the boisterous personality. A Jew, a black, and Italian. No, when he's off camera, he was very. How are you? Is there anything I can do for you? That sort of thing. Very soft. When Robin and I started dating, I was still tied to the Hoboken Film Festival at the time, and Robin, came out to hang out, kind of thing. And one of the two big things that happened there is she hung out with him for a half an hour, and they talked like they were together for 50 years, easy. And by the way, if you ever want to lock in, someone you're dating, do that shit. But he spent a half an hour with my future in-laws. He and alongside Joyce DeWitt recorded a beautiful 50-year and happy anniversary message to my parents.
wow.
And I still have it. Where it's him and Joyce DeWitt, and they're talking back and forth, and they're just going on about this stuff. And it was really, really cool because that's the real Gilbert Gottfried. And if you saw Tales from the Film Set on Tuesday, I talked about this. I'm more composed now than I was then. To be honest with you, I actually choked
Well, that was
up
what, an hour before that show went on that news came out. That was
dude, it was
very fresh.
I found out about that about 3:30, maybe 3:45, and then I had to do Sports Den right afterwards. But I found out I lost somebody at 2:00, and then Gilbert Gottfried at 3:30. So it's like I said, when I say that this is one of the toughest weeks I've had in a long time, not lying on that. But yeah, Gilbert was an awesome human being. He was fun. He was charismatic. Ironically enough, I'm watching the YouTube counter as I'm talking about this. The numbers have dropped. Go figure. I'm like, all right, well, fine. We just dropped by like 25% right there. It's like, we don't care about Gilbert. Go away. But anyway, yeah, like I said, he was a dynamite human being. And
we'll cut that up and repost it separately, and then goose the numbers that way. See,
exactly.
I'm learning the game too. I sometimes
no.
I feel like when we're working with streaming and Twitch and everything, I feel like the meme of Steve Buscemi from SNL skit where he's in a high school, where Steve Buscemi is in
young people.
high school. How you doing, fellow kids?
So, all right. So the secret to my doing Tales from the Film Set is just to basically just plow through the alcohol. And hey, there's a liquor store like maybe 200 yards from my house. Go figure. All right. So anyway, liver damage.
Safe.
Liver damage notwithstanding, I think we're going to call it at this point. Jeff, thank you, by the way. I appreciate it. I know you've been sitting there for the most part and, just listening to us just drunkenly babble on here, but I appreciate that.
Welcome in. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, a much more sober me on the Streampunk Sports page will be basically breaking down the USFL and the first game ever, and my New Jersey Generals coming back for the first time since technically 1986, but haven't played a game since 1985. So it's going to bring back a ton of memories, and I got to tell you, I'm fired up about that. I'm so excited about that because it broke my heart.
I may try to rewatch A Silly Little Game, which I highly recommend that if you haven't. I haven't rewatched it in several years, in a long time, as characters in that have done different things since then. So it'll be interesting rewatching that now. I'll put it that way.
Nice. Yeah, you go do that. Like I said, I'm going to call it a night at this point. Like I said, thank you as always. Any final thoughts?
Wait, what was that furry show?
Oh shit. Do I have let's see, do I have that still up? Yes, I do. There we go. Okay, yeah. Sexy Beasts.
Sexy Beasts. Okay.
Sexy Beasts.
That's Netflix?
Oh yeah. That is on Netflix, yes. Basically dating the inner person and the blind date and not knowing the person on the outside, but only knowing the person on the inside. Sexy Beasts on Netflix. And I didn't even go to the one I wanted to go into.
It's better than Cooties. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into that.
Dude, I have the pictures loaded. So if you see behind, in the back there, I have some images there, and I have a couple of the Cuties images, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that or not. Because one of them looked okay, but the other one, is creepy. It's creepy. 11-year-old girls twerking. It's like, no, we could talk about that another time. Believe me,
We should. I will put it this way: we don't want to accidentally end up on any watch lists for images put up, so
Oh,
don't.
dude. I was creeped by that. And it's funny because Netflix is like, you're infringing on the First Amendment rights. And it's like, well, technically true, but then again, Netflix has gone on record by saying we don't care what the audience thinks. We just throw shit out there. That happened after the Kevin Smith He-Man series. They're like, yeah, we don't care about the audience. We just throw shit out. So.
I mean, isn't that any TV network or streaming platform or whatever? It's just fuck you, pay us. We don't care.
I think the bigger you get, the less basically concern you have because you got the audience regardless. So, but anyway, yeah, we're gonna call it at this point.
If we get big enough, we can include us in that too. A few idiots ranting about pop culture and sports. We're here for you.
Well, like I said, I got to decide what's going to happen if we're going to move forward with the Roku thing, the Twitch thing, which is on the sports side, granted. But yeah, I've got a few things on the horizon right now when it comes to all this stuff. Twitch was cool enough to reach out to me, by the way, on that. So I'll talk about that maybe tomorrow night.
Sweet.
But that'll be on the Streampunk Sports Twitch page. But anyway,
Streampunk Sports for New Jersey. Was it Generals versus Birmingham Stallions?
My New Jersey Generals are making a comeback.
New Jersey Generals, Birmingham Stallions tomorrow night at 7:30.
Yes, in Birmingham, of course, because basically all the games are being played down there, which is another problem entirely. But I'll take what I can get. So
they can't afford travel as a rookie league. So that's one way to cut costs and have a better chance of getting year two. So I get it. Well, Philadelphia Stars are also a thing. I was talking with my father-in-law about that recently, and he even pointed out an obscure sports stat before I did about how Jim Morrow was the coach of the Philadelphia Stars that won the first USFL championship in 1983.
And I was there for Philadelphia for 1985. I was at the USFL championship because they played it at Giant Stadium, now MetLife Arena or MetLife Stadium. So I was there for that. And yeah, I'm excited for this because we've had the AAF that never went anywhere. The XFL failed because of COVID. Third time's the charm, maybe. We'll find out. So
we'll see.
But yes, I will talk about that and the AAF and everything, my experiences behind the scenes with the XFL, which ironically has the same quarterback between the New York Guardians and now my New Jersey Generals. But that'll be a tomorrow night thing.
It's the same quarterback.
Nice. It is. Believe it or not, it is. The backup quarterback for the XFL, impressed enough that he got a job with the Generals in literally the same state.
Saves on travel. Why not?
Dude, Parker and I right. So anyway, I'm going to call it here.
We'll talk about that and we'll set something up for tomorrow.
100%. Yeah. I'm Scott. That's JD Walker. Thank you to Mr. Jeffrey Valentino. He's the new producer on this. So he's kind of sitting on the backside, just feeling this out, getting a feel for how it works. Eventually, I'll turn everything over to him and probably will not rip him if anything goes south because Lord knows I probably screwed up like 87 things tonight myself. Anyway, thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate